Well, today we are working on a 289 D3 skid steer. I've already pulled the bolts out of the cab right here on both sides. Got the nuts off of it. Having a problem with the charging system. Saying voltage is low. That's the bolt out over here on this side. When we're cranking the vehicle up to use it, saying low voltage, system low voltage, and saying system's low voltage and shutting down. Let's see what it says today. And that took forever to crank. Well, that's what it's saying. Let's see what this is saying. All right. There's the code. Now when I pull that code up, it says low voltage, so not sure exactly what's going on here. When I put an alternator on it, or do an alternator test, it just shut down. So when I do an alternator test for checking the voltage, it's saying the voltage is just fine, and it did take a little time to crank it. Did not crank as good as it should have cranked there. So that's what we're working on today. We're gonna see if we can figure out what's going on and why. See if we can get the problem fixed. So I guess we're getting ready to raise the cab up here in a minute. I'm gonna do another system voltage test to make sure the alternator is working, but if that alternator is working and the voltage is good, then we have to start checking into the harness. I think this is the fuel pump right here. Let's start checking connections. It's saying the voltage is low going to it. So let's get a voltmeter hooked up and see what we got. All right, we got a voltmeter out, got her hooked up to the battery. Go ahead and crank it now. Shut it down. Go ahead and shut it off. Well, it looks like the alternator is not working. I checked it the other day and it showed to be working. Now it's not. So we're going to do some more tests on the alternator here and see what's going on with the alternator. But we do not have an alternator charge. So we're going to get this cover off and see what we got going on with the alternator. Get you guys set up here on a stand. I'm getting ready to pull this cover off. Yeah, the other day when we took this thing, the alternator was putting out just fine. 14.5 volts. Now today it ain't doing nothing, so I don't know. Maybe the alternator is intermittent. Belt feels fairly snug, so I don't think it's a belt problem. We might need to go and put some belts on this thing. It's looking pretty rough on the belts on that AC compressor there. look like that everything here looks pretty good as far as the belt being tight. Alright, let's see if we can get a connection here, mate, and check it right here directly at the alternator output. See what it shows there. If it shows a good voltage there, then its chances are that somewhere between the alternator through the harness to the battery, it may be a bad connection. So, or a plug something bad. So we got to check the alternator to see if the alternator's putting out. I need your assistance again, please.
With what?
I need you to crank it back up again. There's the plug. It's going to be a little hard to get to back in there. Of course, it does feel like that wire just comes straight off the alternator, goes right here into the battery. Yeah, it goes right there in the battery, so it looks like they have got it set up. I might need to, it's saying 14.9 volts. Let's see what we got here. Go ahead and crank it up again. Yeah. Turn it off. So apparently the alternator is not working now. So that alternator must have been intermittent the other day whenever I tested it. It showed 14.5, but now it's only showing 12.3. So I'm gonna throw a charger on this thing and see if we can charge this battery up. See if we get the voltage back up right where it belongs.
Am I done?
Yeah, you're done for the moment. Thank you for your assistance. Go ahead and charge that battery up. Connect that battery. Bless you, huh? Yeah, the small engine I got on this thing won't run the alternator charging batteries and run that compressor at the same time, so I got to run the belt off in order to charge the batteries. See if we can get a good ground here somewhere. I might make some phone calls trying to get find an alternator for this thing. Looks like the alternator has quit. Well, I hope I got a connection there. Let's find a good place here on the body. I don't like making my connection on a battery there. Things spark, it'll blow the battery up my face. Alright, we're currently charging the battery now. Looks like it's charging at about 36 amps. We're gonna let it charge here for a little bit. Then we're gonna crank it back up and see if it gives us that error warning. If it gives us that error warning, then we might need to check in on the harness. But if it don't, that's just an indication that our wiring is fine. It's just the alternator's quit. So we're gonna let it run here for a few minutes and see what we got. Showing 14.77, so yeah, I'm getting a connection issue. Well, this thing here don't want to stay on for some reason. It looks like I've done broke my alligator clip. Now I might put another alligator clip on it, looks like. Let me go crank it back up and see if she shuts down and gives an alarm now. With the voltage up there good, maybe it won't give alarm unless it's has a sensor in the alternator that goes to the computer system, and if it detects the alternator not charging, then it still gives an alarm. So, sort of like a light on a dash on an older vehicle. It had a light to come on when the alternator wasn't working. And if it sends that signal back to the alternator, back from the alternator back to the computer, well, still giving me a problem here. So let's cut her off here. I may have lost connection with the battery. Let's see what we got here. See, I may have lost connection with the battery when I cranked it up. Now, it started at 27 amps. So it must be that don't never disconnect the battery. You need to be careful. Even if you make a spark here, when you're charging the battery, fumes are coming out of it. Even wiggling this and make a tiny spark, that battery will blow up in your face. So always make your last connection right here. So if, see that spark? That's all it takes to blow a battery up your face. So always make your connections on the ground of the vehicle and disconnect it on the ground of the vehicle before you disconnect it at the battery. Because that small spark you see that it's making there when it's disconnecting the charge, that can cause the acids in that battery to explode and blow a battery up in your face. Same thing with jumping a vehicle off. You always hook up your positive cable first. Make sure you got a good connection on it so it don't spark. Then bring your ground over here and hook it up to the ground of the vehicle. Then you can jump the vehicle off. But never make your connections on directly on the battery like that, because it can cause a spark and make the battery blow up. Well, the voltage is showing pretty good in the battery right now. That's really weird. So the alternator is definitely not working, and it must have a sensor wire going out of it, going back to the computer, that tells if it's charging or not. And if it's not, it's going to give an error message. Sort of like a light on a dash. You know, you used to have lights come on the older vehicles. When the alternator ain't working, the light would come on. Well, it's sending power back to the computer. They call it data. And the computer can detect if that alternator's working or not. It tends to give you an alarm, give you time to get it out of the way, and then it shuts down. You can crank it back, but it won't run for about a minute or two, then shut off again. So let me get this alternator off and get a hold of my boss, let him know what's going on, and see if about getting another one. guys, if the video bores you, you can fast forward it. I'm going to let it run until I get this alternator disconnected and out. And the whole purpose of a video is to watch and learn. I do a lot of watching and learning and reading, so you never learn enough. You never stop learning. I don't care how old you get, you never stop learning. So just find something that you can learn from. So I'm gonna just let her run, and I think my cable is in pretty bad shape. This thing's been on there for a while. Man, that thing looks like I'm gonna have to do some real serious cleaning on this thing. That thing is rusted. It's starting to get a little easier. I should have put some spray on it, but that WD-40 creates some kind of a insulation. Makes it hard to, the connections lose after 3 or 4 days. It builds up some kind of a film. And then it loses connections, so I would prefer just leaving that off of there. Let's see what we got here. Now there's that, and this is going to be a 12. There's that. Backside is spinning. Yep. So it looks like I might go get another wrench. Hold the backside of it. Let me go get me another wrench to hold that nut on the back side. Not sure if that's a 14 or 15 back there. So, yeah, it's a 15. Slipped on it right there. Be careful we don't drop the nut off. It should move now, and it does. How many washers it's got on it, so I gotta make sure I don't drop the washers off. The net there. There's one washer. Actually a lock washer. Let's see if it has a flat washer on it. I don't feel one. Let's see if this bolt will come out. Alright. That's off of there. Guess I'll need to put a new out of service sticker on when I'm cranking this thing up. And them belts are looking pretty cracked, so I might need to go ahead and get some belts ordered and come in the mail to us and get them coming before we start having problems with this thing. And what size is that one? I'd like to take this little bracket off. I don't know if I can get this out without having it off or not. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to have to go get a pry bar. Yeah, wait a minute. I'm going to use that screwdriver here, see if I can slip that up. Yeah, it's moving anyway. Alright. I think we can get it out there now, maybe. Alright. Oh, yeah. Get around here where I can get to it now. Yep, got two wires coming out of the back of it. I might get a pair of pliers. This thing has so much dirt in it. I can't even relieve the plug in there to get it loose. Wow. Get the cap off there to get to that bolt. Hey, hon,
What?
bring me a 10mm wrench, please, and a pair of regular pliers. I got this rubber cup on there. I don't know if I can get this to push in and out or not. That thing in there. Well, they gave me a little room to work with. I seriously doubt I get that one loose because I may have to have a pocket screwdriver to do that one. Wow. Right here's one of the two wires that has to do with sending a signal back to the computer system. Sort of the same thing when you have, like I said, when you had the older vehicles, they had a light. So when the alternator quit working, it grounded the bulb out right in here. It made the bulb burn. And it's got this wire here that connects here in the back, and it's got this wire here. So it's probably this wire right here, sending the voltage back to the computer saying it probably ain't charging, and it gives an alarm system and shuts down when the alternator ain't working. So that's kind of inconvenient. It ought to have, I still say I'd like to have one with a voltage on it, because the way they have it designed now, if the alternator quits working, you can't even charge the battery up. Go ahead and use what you need to use the machine for that day, so that evening, whenever you get done working, you can take the alternator off. They've got it fixed where it just shuts down, so you can't use nothing anymore. If that alternator ain't working, it shuts down. Leaves you stranded right where it sits when that alternator quits. So that's a little bit inconvenient than what it was from the older stuff. We're going to try to go ahead and finish getting the rest of this alternator off. And get that part done. Looks like my wife brought my wrench to me I needed. Let's see if we can get this loose. Alright, we got the main power cable loose. Anyway, the way they got stuff designed nowadays, it shuts you down right there on the spot. You can't charge a battery and go ahead and use it that day, or use it till the battery dies and charge it up again. You gotta stop right there on the job site and change everything out and fix everything before you can even finish a job. The stuff they've got nowadays is, I mean, it works good, and I have to say, I ain't gonna say it don't, but It sure does leave you in the middle of nowhere. Now, I think I know why it burnt the alternator up, because I'll show you guys here in a minute how much dirt's in this thing. This thing's a mess. It is a complete mess. Right there's my plug. Let's see if I can get that pushed in. Man, they got this thing. I can push it in, but I can't seem to budge it. Wow. Unbelievable. Let's see if I can turn it around here where I can see it better. Everything is just so much dirt in it. Dust and dirt. See if I can take a screwdriver and go in there and kind of lift up and see if I can pull it out. Wow, that thing was really in there. Yep, only got one wire going in the back of it. Anyway, right here's what burnt the alternator out, guys. These alternators has got little fans. I don't know if you can see it in there. Let me see if I can get it around here where you can see it. Get over here where I can look at it through the camera so I know you'll be able to see it. If I can see it on camera, you should be able to see it. Alright. And these alternators, they got little fans in them. I don't know if you can see that in there. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. You see the fan blades in there. Well, anyway, them fan blades pull air in right here, blows it through the alternator, and it's also got a fan here. Kind of blows it through the alternator and cools all these components. When you got this much dirt on a heat sink, see all that dirt on that heat sink there? No air can come through here to cool it. And it just gets hotter and hotter until it eventually melts it down and destroys it. So the lack of cleaning it is probably what burnt this alternator out. I'll get you a before and after I blow it out and show you what it should look like. In fact, I'll just go on over here and do it now. That thing is in pitiful shape. Just dust built up in it over time. All right. Let me shut my door. Shut your door and roll your window up, man. I want you breathing this dust. Very dusty. Make sure you shut the door good. Shut your door, Gladder. I'm gonna take a deep breath because I ain't gonna breathe this myself. The dust has been blown. All right, here's the before. And then I'm gonna get you an after. And right here's an after. As you can see, them fans are open in there where air can circulate through it to cool the unit so that it can function, because it produces a lot of heat when it's charging the battery, especially a dead battery. You can kind of get by with the alternator being dirty like this if you've got a fully charged battery, but it still gets it pretty hot because it has to charge all that You know, it creates heat when it's charging the battery up. There's an after. So, guys, it's important to make sure you kind of blow your equipment out and keep it clean, because that's the life of the vehicle now. Having dirty air and stuff in sorts, even in the engine or anything, fuel, alternator, all this could cause breakdowns. So it's important to keep this stuff clean. And just like that, we have got us a new alternator, and we're going to try to put that thing on there and see what this thing does. So using a 10mm bolt, it looks like they put a standard nut on there. It's a 1/2 inch. So let's see if we can get that thing on there and get her installed and see how she works. See how it does. Just like magic, all my tools just appeared here. So we're ready to go. I said like magic, all my tools appear here, Renee. Get the cable hooked up. Hope this fixes the problem. If it ain't got a wiring harness issue. It's saying low voltage on the fuel pump system, but when I checked the valve output of the alternator, it wasn't working. So I'm hoping that's all the problem is. It's just the alternator not functioning. Looks like I'm gonna need a 10mm wrench, Renee. If you'll get that for me, I appreciate it. Oh goodness.
What?
I was about to spark the battery here.
On the gate.
Got over against the hot post.
Be careful.
Give me that 10 wrench, please. Thank you.
Yep.
Alright, that's it. Now we need to get the plug in the back. That's clicked in. Now we need to get this plug on. That's clicked in. Now we turn the alternator. Put it in its case. There's holding platform. Yeah, that's gonna go on the other side of that. There. Looks like it may have actually got me everything I needed today. Everything looks like it's lining up good. Everything looks like it's lining up good. Loosen that cable back there and twist it down a little bit. Look like it's hitting the dip tube. Make sure that wire ain't rubbing something, because if it is, it'll definitely create a problem for us. Let's see what we got here. Well, being I got that boot on there, I'm gonna have to actually take the thing right back off, because I can't get that boot pushed back and get it out of my way to loosen that nut so I can rotate that plugged down just a little bit. It's a little bit too high when I push it in, the alternator in, to put the belt on. It puts the power wire up against the dipstick tube, and that vibration will put a hole in the insulation of that wire, and it will cause a fire. Show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, when I push the alternator up to put the belt on it, looks like the power wire is going to be hitting this here dipstick tube, and the vibrations of the engine can wiggle a hole in that and cause it to short out. So I might take this thing right back off and move that cord down just a little bit in order to make sure I give clearance for that wire. So I'm going to take it right back out. I'll need a flathead screwdriver, Renee. I've got to take this thing back off. I've got to redo the power wire on it. I didn't get it quite set right whenever I was trying to get everything lined up here. Let's get this here unplugged. Alright, that's unplugged. That gives it a little bit more room to turn.
Alright, stay on the ground.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm going to push that thing down just a little bit. Sure I'm away from that battery post. I don't want nothing sparking again. Alright, let's push that down a little bit. Alright, that should have it out of the way right there. And that's good and tight. Put my boot back over it. Let's try this again. See if that fixed the problem. I didn't like the way that went in there. I didn't hear it click. I guess it did go in. Alright. Get all this lined back up again. Oh yeah, it's definitely got it down there now. Definitely got it down there now. Looking much better. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Get that nut started on the back side of that bolt. Alright, show you guys. Now that we got the thing mounted and the bolt in it, I've got a little bit more clearance between the dipstick tube here and the main power wire that comes off and comes straight down here to the positive part of the cable on the battery right here. So I've got the battery disconnected for the moment. Just trying to get that up there. I don't want that hitting. Don't want that nowhere close. But anyway, looks like I may need to clean this up before I put it back on. But boy, this thing got a lot of dirt in it. All that dust and stuff everywhere. Just get dust and dirt everywhere. Let's see if we can get the belt on now. I might be better off to put it on the alternator, then put it around the water pump. There we go. My clearance is still good on the I need the white box unlocked, please, so you can get me a pry bar. I gotta snug this belt up a little bit, please.
Which pry bar do you want?
The red one. We're just about done with it, guys. About don't fix the problem, I might still raise the cab on it and start going over all the plugs and harnesses and everything to see if what else might be a problem. But the alternator definitely wasn't working, and that power wire comes straight off right here, goes down and comes straight into the battery here. So it was charging the other day when I tested it, but when I tested it yesterday, it was not charging. I've got it on video. Thank you. It was definitely not charging yesterday, but it was charging the day before. Let's see if I can find a good place here to pry. Get that belt snugged up there. All right. That belt's getting snug now. Now we just need to get that nut tightened up. I think this is the size I need. Get that wrench on the back side. Alternator is installed. All I gotta do is clean up this battery post. Looks like both ends need to be cleaned, so let me get something to get that done with. It just showed up in my hands. And that's clean. We got that cleaned up and looking good there, guys. I think I can connect this up now. I forgot we're gonna have to do something with this nut here. It doesn't look too good. I need a 1/2 inch wrench, Renee. This is 13. Try to get this screwed apart. That ain't good, guys. That ain't good. It ain't doing nothing. I might get something a little bit more persuasion to get that thing loose. And get something a little bit more persuasion. Pause it. And just like that, my tools just show up in my hand. Just like magic. Let's clean that. That thing is in bad shape. Clean everything up. This thing so it'll make a good connection. That thing was in bad shape. Boy, that nut is hot. I'll get me some grease a hold of that thing before I put that back on. And it looks like, I don't know if that bolt will come out or not. I know, guys, I need to go get me a hammer. But I ain't hitting that hard to damage my tools, so I'm gonna continue to use it as a hammer as long as I ain't hitting it that hard. Hold this and try to turn this other piece now. Try to get this all apart, get some grease on everything, get everything cleaned up, and make sure we're making a good connection and everything. There we go. See if we can get this pulled off. Get this bolt out now. Much better. Get me a steel brush and put it on a drill, see if I can clean all this up. And guys, just like that, the tools disappear in my hand. I can get done what I need to do. Yeah. Red cover right in my way. Doing what I need to do. Well, that looks much better. All right. That's looking a lot better. Put just a touch of grease on it, and that'll keep it from corroding up. Also make my nut screw on there easier. Can't get this in here. I need a grease rag, please. Well, I just slid right in there now. Never mind, I got one over here already, Renee. Didn't realize I had one laying here at me. All right. Let's get this connection made. Oh, come on. Get in there. Here we go. Like that one went over here. Let me get this in here. I think this in here. What went on this side? I hope this bolt ain't stripped out or something. I was thinking the nut would start a little bit easier than this. It won't start for some reason. Oh, maybe up against a brick wall here getting this thing fixed. Nothing wants to cooperate. That's a 14. And I got the 13 out already. Let's see if that'll screw up in there for me. Yes, sir, it takes that off. I'm a little concerned it wouldn't take off for me. It ain't doing all that squeaking it did earlier. Tapping on a battery, but I ain't got no choice in the matter. Make sure that cable's done on there good. That's kind of hard on the plates inside the battery, tapping on it. The battery's still in pretty decent condition, it won't hurt it, but if it's getting old and ready to fall apart, then I have just damaged that battery where it probably won't crank again until I replace it. So vibration and a battery just don't mix. Grease on that. Well, let's hope this fixes the problem. Get this thing together and then it'll be operational then. And that screwed right on there. No problem at all with that. I need my voltmeter, please. Make sure everything's functioning as it should. Yeah, that thing wants to come up with me. And the whole thing's wanting to turn. Good. Hey, let's see if I can snug this up a little bit more. Well, it's wanting to turn. All right. We got that done. Let's get this here on. Cover everything. Don't have to worry about something dropping on it or something getting on it, causing a fire if it sparks. All right, we are officially done. Let's go crank this thing up and see if that actually fixed the problem, if it's still got an alarm. If it's still got an alarm, I'm going to have to raise the cab and start checking the harnesses. Let's see what we got. Let me get my battery meter hooked up. Let me know if it's still alarming or I'll come and ask you. If it is, we're going to have to start doing us some other investigations. Let's see if we can get this connected to the ground. I hope this fixes all the problem. Don't do nothing till I tell you. I don't want my hands here near a belt and have a finger sands caught up in it. All right, saying the voltage is 12.53 volts. Go ahead and crank it up, I'm ready. Crank it. Is it alarming now?
I've got temperature gauge and some other gauges up there.
It's not alarming, getting ready to shut down?
No. Got a gas thing on it and
So I guess this fixed it then. So it did have an alternator problem. Alright, let me get up in there. Just stay where you're at. I'll get up in here and see if we see a screen.
ow.
Nope, we have no screens now. Still got that thing on there though, that explanation point right there. Not sure what that's about. That went too far. Service, diagnostics, view active, no active events. Alright. View log. Okay, it's still coming up with that machine. So, let's go make sure the alternator is working. Maybe that'll clear off here. It ain't giving me alarm at this moment, but it does have this here on. So, let's go see if the alternator's actually putting out. Let it run for a few minutes and see if it starts giving me an error code. And I'll make it definitely work. Well, it ain't shutting down no more right now. I'm gonna let it run a little bit longer and see how it does. All right, looks like the charging stayed up good on it. Next thing I'm gonna try to address is this on and off switch. I'm gonna see if I can't get this thing here fixed so that thing will work by hand. That thing is really tight. So let me see if I can get in there and get this done. Yeah, you can go ahead. You're done. Voltage is good on the alternator charging. It's not shutting down anymore. So I'm gonna try to work on this switch. I need my red adjustable when you get a chance to get it.
Randy, I'm just gotta get down the road. Can't do anything.
All right. Let's cover this up so we don't have to worry about something shorting. I hate half metric and half standard stuff. Need the red adjustable. I think I'll open up big enough. Tell you what, just give me the silver one. I'll use it. I know it's big enough. I'm gonna see if I can get his switch working better. He needs to be able to shut the power off on this thing so he don't leave the power on it.
There you go.
Thank you. Yeah. Half metric and half standard. I've got a 14 wrench to take off a 9/16 nut. And it's a real tight fit. I mean, I better get it off and on. It's only like a few thousandths difference between a 9/16 and a 14, but 9/16 would actually fit where I can slide it off and on fairly decent. When I use a 14, well, it's just a tiny bit smaller, so it makes it a real pain in the butt to slide it off and on and get it on there properly. Whoever come up with metric is really aggravating. You gotta have 15 sets of tools to do something. Now then you gotta go after something. You figure something is metric, it all ought to be metric. Not half metric and half standard. So I guess this switch was made in the USA and it's standard. And the other components was made in somewhere else and it's metric. It's like the alternator, and bolt on it, it's metric. Yeah. Let's see if we, I don't think I can even pull the key out. I'm going to have to work with that. See if we get, I got to get the key out before I can even get it off. Key should come right out though. Man, that thing is tight. Wow. I don't guess I've ever pulled the key out of it. I need a pair of eye strips, please. I don't guess they've ever pulled the key out. Just left the key in it and it's sitting there and rusted in there. It's sliding out, but real slow. Thank you.
Yep.
Let's see if we can use these pliers as a keep working it till we get it out. Man, that thing is tight. It looks like I'm pulling it out on the bottom more than I am the top.
Yeah.
So I'm about to get it up here at the top and prowl it. And that thing is tight. There we go. Well, that thing was in there. Man. Probably never been pulled out since it was made new. Let's see if we can get this thing resolved. I need some WD-40, please. Look on my... Oh, darn thing, I'm gonna have to review the video and see where the cover piece went. Well, actually, I think that might have been it. Yeah, I think that was it. What I see right here was the plastic coming off. Better put it together, then you can take the plastic off of it. And they got this backwards. When you close a circuit, you got 0, and when you got a line, that's an open circuit. So they got a line for it to be an open circuit when you close it, and they got the closed circuit as being the one that's supposed to be open. So whoever, over the years, they don't know what a closed loop and open loop is. See, that's closed, that's connected. This is open, it's no closed. So they got these backwards. Thank you.
Yep.
Let's see. Get some fluid in this thing and see if I can get it where I can at least slide the key out in a little better. Now I gotta find a key. Look at there. It's amazing what a little bit of WD-40 can do to something. Sliding the key out and in. It's no longer stuck with my fingers. So you can actually pull the key out and take it in the house if you want to. I have a brush here, I can clean some of that rust off. I don't know if I'm in the video doing that or not, but let's see what we got here. All right, let's see if we can get it installed back now. Well, can't seem to hold on to nothing here today. That's engaged, and they got it on the line. When the circuit's open, no connection, they got a 0. So that means these two are backwards. When you got a closed circuit, it's a line, and they've got it backwards on that. You got a closed circuit. It should be on the 0 should be over here. That line up there, so they got it backwards when they printed it. I'll get the on and off switch so he can cut it off if he wants to. spark here on the alternator. I made a ground there. Connecting the battery up. Connecting it right here is the same thing as connecting it right here from here to the ground. So I had a little bit of a spark there. Powered the system up for a bit. That's good and tight. Do you have to get in to crank it up, or can you just stand right there at the side and fire it back up here when I tell you?
I have to get up there. I don't think it'll crank unless I'm in there sitting in the seat.
You have to be sitting in a seat with the arms down,
I think so.
and then you can raise the arms up after it's running.
Yeah.
I guess that's a safety feature. The alternator's definitely working now. It should have been working the other day, but when I checked it yesterday, it wasn't working. Well, the alternators will do that. They'll work intermediately like that. All right, we got that on and off switch fixed. Let's get everything down here. I guess I'm done with this machine. We're gonna let him run it and see how it does. If it gives a problem again, we'll have to address that problem when it comes. So, let's see here. I guess this went in here like this. Upside down there for a minute. Well, I gotta figure out where to put it. There we go. All right, let's get these twigs out. All right. Well, I'm gonna call it done with this thing so he can run it and see how it does. So we have officially finished with this particular machine. We're gonna close the hood and tell him it's ready. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, leave it on my comments and I'll try to get back with you. And thanks for watching and have a great day.